Sup everyone, welcome back to the Beginner Breakdown series for King of Fighters 14. In this episode we're going to go over Tung. If you've never seen a beginner breakdown before, this video series is intended more for beginners and players who are just trying to learn the basics of a character. With that in mind, let's get started. As always, let's go over 4 normals first. 4 light punch, 4 light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. 4 light punch is a mid, we block both crouching or standing. It's only a little bit negative on block and has a really good range as you see, very quick too. 4 light kick is another mid. It can be blocked both crouching or standing, has less range than far light punch. I think it's a tiny bit slower. It's just a little bit more negative on block as well. Far heavy punch is another mid. We blocked both crouching or standing. It's his most negative far normal. It has really good range, and as you saw right there, it can be special cancelled and it can also be super cancelled. That makes certain things like far heavy punch into his projectile right there kind of annoying, because that is a block string and then it pushes back that far if they block it. Here's far heavy kick. It's a mid and we block both crouching or standing, and it's only a little bit negative on block. Up next we got close buttons. Here's close light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. Close light punch is a mid and we block both crouching or standing. It's just a little bit negative on block, and you can super and special cancel it into whatever. Close light kick is a low. It can only be blocked crouching. It's a little bit negative on block, and it's super and special cancelable. Close heavy punch is another mid. It can be blocked both crouching or standing. It's negative on block, and you can super and special cancel it. Close heavy kick is a mid, and we blocked both crouching or standing. It's a little bit negative on block, and you can super and special cancel it. From up close, Tung can combo his close standing light kick into close standing light punch. It'll look like that. Then of course you can super and special cancel that close light punch. You can also go into his command normal from that as well, which is useful. Next we got crouching normals. Crouching light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. Crouching light punch is a mid, and we blocked both crouching or standing. As you see right there, you can chain a couple in a row. You can chain up to 3 from point blank. It's only a little bit negative on block, and you can super and special cancel this button. Crouching light kick is a low. It can only be blocked crouching. It's just a little bit negative on block, and you cannot super or special cancel it. You can't chain it either. And there's no linking into another crouching light kick either, as far as I know. So if you want a special cancel from crouching light kick, you'll have to go into crouching light punch, and then special or super cancel that. Alternatively, you can also go into close standing light kick, since that close standing light kick is a low. I believe that might have been a change in the patch 2.0. Crouching heavy punch is a mid. It can be blocked both crouching or standing. It has pretty good range on it. It's only a little bit negative on block. It's pretty fast too, and you can super and special cancel it. Crouching heavy kick is his sweep. It has actually really good range on it. It's a low, so it can only be blocked crouching. As you see right there, it is pretty negative. It can be punished in some circumstances. So Tung himself can use his light punch projectile for that, to punish it. If you do happen to use it up close, the punish has to be kind of specific, since it does push back for most 4 normals to reach, I believe. Tung also has a pretty effective and easy confirm into max mode from crouching. So you can do that. That was crouching light kick into standing close light kick into, I believe that's far light punch. And then you max mode cancel that third button hit into whatever you want. Let's go over his jumping normals next. Here's jumping light punch, light kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. So they're all standard jump ins. You can get whatever you want off of them as long as you time it right. All of his buttons can also be used as short hop buttons. It won't whiff on crouchers, so you don't have to worry about that. You could use jumping heavy punch for his short hop buttons. Has decent range on it. It comes out a little bit quicker than heavy kick, but you can use heavy kick as well, especially since it's 2 hits. You can hit it out pretty early and have the second hit the opponent on the way down. If you wanted to cross up, jumping light punch is his easiest button to use to cross up. And I briefly mentioned that Tung's jumping heavy kick is 2 hits. It's easier to show it on a normal sized character or a big character. If the character is smaller like Tung himself or like another small character, if they're standing, I don't know if it's possible to get both of these kicks to land. And another thing to note, even if they are a normal sized character or even a big character, it's very difficult to get both of those hits to land. Tung's jumping light punch can also be special cancelled. That's really the only thing he can special cancel into, because he only has 1 air special move. And I'll go over that special move more later in the special move section. Tung's jumping a blowback attack, which you can execute by hitting heavy kick and heavy punch while in the air. This right here, it's pretty good. It's just standard, nothing super special. You can short hop with it. It won't whiff on crouchers. You can jump in with it and it works. You can use it as an air-to-air as long as you're early enough. And it's plus on block, just like all jumping blow-up attacks. Let's go over his command normals. He has 1, and it's down, forward, and light punch. First thing to note is that it stands up opponents if they're crouching. It's pretty negative on block if you just throw it by itself. It's potentially punishable with like a far normal that reaches. But it does have a good hitbox on it, so you can use it as part of a block string pretty easily, and it'll push back pretty far. This command normal can be specialed and super cancelled, making it really useful, especially because you can use it in combos. You can get it off of almost all of his buttons, as long as you're within range of this to hit. So you can get it off of high hit stun buttons like heavy punch, or like low hit stuns like close, light kick. And it has a high hit stun on it, so you can combo some special moves into it that you wouldn't be able to off of a light button. It's so fast that you can even get it after far heavy punch, as long as you're within range, that is. And there's nothing tricky about this command normal, it's just a mid. It can be blocked both crouching or standing. Tung's blowback attack, which you can execute by hitting heavy punch and heavy kick while on the ground. This right here is pretty standard, has a lot of startup on it. It pushes back quite a bit if they do block it. It's pretty difficult to punish because of that. If you happen to land it, you can wait just a little bit and make sure it connected, and then you can hit heavy punch and lunge attack from full screen, and it'll all combo. It is special and super cancelable if you want to try to make it a little bit safer. Let's quickly go over throws. Forward throw, not a hard knockdown, sends them full screen. Back throw is a hard knockdown, and it gives you a little bit of time to run in on them if you need to. Going over special moves next. The first one he has is core circle back plus punch. It's this lunge attack right here, that's the light punch version of it. Has a little bit more limited range than the heavy punch version of it, but still goes pretty far. The heavy punch version of it goes almost full screen. The heavy punch version of this move does more damage than the light punch version, and the EX version does the most damage because it's 2 hits. You can really only combo into both the normal versions, the light punch and heavy punch, from anything with a lot of hits done on it, and that will combo. That includes this command normal. The EX version, you have a little bit more combo options. It can combo from things that are with things with low hit stun on it. Kind of like that, for example. You want to take note that the first hit, with kind of like where he stomps on the ground, has a limited hitbox on it. So if you kind of do a string that puts you too far away, like for example like that, it might not combo. All these special moves are really easy to punish, as you see right there. That was a light punch version of it, which is the least negative one, and it's still really easy to punish. These lunge punches help you push the opponent more into the corner, because he does get some pretty nasty corner juggles from some of the stuff I've seen. They're just a little bit difficult to do. You can super cancel the light punch version of it, like right on hit. It's actually not right on hit. It's more like when after he like lands after the punch is when the super cancel happens. So you'll be canceling just a little bit later than you'd expect. The heavy punch version of it is not very good for super canceling. It'll whiff a lot. You kind of have to use it as part of like some sort of max mode combo juggle, unless you happen to land it from far away. In short, if you super cancel the heavy punch version of this from really close, it's probably not going to work. If you're further away, it probably will work because they're higher up by the time you recover from the special move. And that's important in his max mode combos. You'll see that happen a lot. The EX version allows you to hit the opponent afterwards. As you see right there, there's not a lot of big options you get afterwards. You can land a sweep afterwards and knock them down and let you run in a little bit. You'll see it more often like after an EX fireball. It allows you to get some juggles afterwards. So mid-screen, there's not a lot of options you get off of this. Pretty much you'll only be able to hit him like with a normal afterwards, most likely. Unless it's part of like a specific max mode combo. In the corner, it does become a little bit easier to hit them with some slower things like super. Or like that juggle mash attack. Next special move we have is core circle 4 plus punch. It is his projectile. So that's a light punch version of it. It has pretty good range on it. The heavy punch version of it has about the same amount of range. And it knocks back, as you see. And it does a little bit more damage, as well as having more startup than the light punch version of it. The X version of this move does the most damage, and it's the quickest one as well. It causes a wall bounce. You can combo into the light punch version of it from anything with high hits on it. So like his heavy buttons or his command normal will work. It can be pretty helpful in block strings for beginners because you can commit to like a sequence like this and it'll push back a lot and you'll be safe. The special move is even on block anyway, so you're not at any sort of frame disadvantage. The heavy punch version, however, you can't really combo into it because of the very long startup. What you'll be using it for is more to punish really bad button presses. Like for example, like right there, that counter hit. I was mashing far light punch during that block string. And even if I just sat there and blocked it, it's a little bit plus on block. And if you're cornered, that means, you know, Tung still has his turn. He can still press some buttons afterwards. The EX version is pretty comboable. You can get off of high hits or low hit stun buttons, as long as you're within range of the fireball. These special moves can also be super cancelled. The EX version of this projectile is probably the best version for more advanced combos if you happen to start learning some of those. So simple stuff like that is possible, and I was just using 2 different EX moves. He does get nastier juggles than that I've seen. And that was just mid-screen too. I think he can carry you from like one side of the screen to the other. And if you have the opponent in the corner when you land that, you have a lot more options as well. You can even land like a blowback attack and just raw super afterwards as well. One thing to be careful of, if you're right next to them when you do that EX version in the corner, they will fly over your head, so you have to adjust your inputs correctly. And then another thing to note is if you happen to land the heavy punch version in the corner, you are able to land some stuff afterwards and hit them out of the air. It's just like one big hit, really. You can also mash punch afterwards and juggle them. And these are projectile moves as well, so they'll dissipate other projectiles that characters are throwing out. Also, the EX version is plus on block as well. Next special move he has is a mash attack. You just mash punch, and you get that. That's the normal version of it. It's 8 hits. And there's the EX version, which you get by just mashing both punches together. It's also 8 hits. It does more damage, but it's also a lot quicker. These are pretty easy combo tools if you just wanted to go and mash some buttons after like a close normal. You just want to note that it's pretty range dependent. So it can combo from off of high hit stun buttons or low hit stun buttons. You just have to be close enough for it to work. For example, that will just whiff on characters. The hitbox is like past his, a little bit past his wrist. And the same goes for the EX version as well. There's nothing too easy to get off of these because you can't super cancel them for extra damage. You'll see Tung players use them as part of like more advanced max mode combos, especially if they have the opponent in the corner. For example, in situations like that, after landing a fireball with the opponent in the corner, in this case it was the heavy punch version of it, then you go from the EX one afterwards, which sends them up really high in the air, and as they come down you can hit them with the top part of the hitbox in the normal version of it. These special moves are kind of difficult to punish as well if you get them to block the whole thing. The danger just really lies in the limited range of it, so if you use it in the block string, you'll probably have it whiff. Like situations like that will just make a whiff, and then you're in front of the opponent, they can hit you. Next special move he has is Shoryuken motion plus kick, and that is forward, down, down, forward plus kick. This right there, that is a grab. It's a command grab. So you can use that to open up opponents who are blocking too much. That was the regular version of it. The EX version of it does more damage. You can combo into it from anything with high hit stun or low hit stun as long as you're close enough. You can even get off of some sequences like that. It's pretty useful. Just be careful of using it in block strings, because it'll just whiff in somebody's face and they can punish you for it. As far as I know, there's no follow-ups to either version of this special move. The next special move he has is core circle back plus punch in the air. This spin move right there. So it's a couple, he spins around with his fists and it's a couple hits. I think it might be like 2 or 3 hits total. And generally the EX one does more damage. And the damage is dependent on how many times he hits you with those spinning fists. So generally speaking, the EX one's probably going to do more damage. There's not a ton of use for this special move because it has some startup, so you really don't want to use it as an air-to-air. It's quicker to just meet somebody there with a button press. You'll see it more often in more advanced max mode combos where the opponent is being juggled after activation. So kind of like that, for example. So if you know what I did there, I hit him with the EX Fireball, which, like I said before, is his best opener for like a max mode combo. And right after that, I did a hyper hop, and then I inputted the EX version of that air special move as fast as I could afterwards and juggled them. And as you see, that carried them from like mid screen into the corner. And from what I've seen, you can land a couple more of those in a row, or like you mix the EX ones up with the normal ones after that. But if you're just a straight up beginner, you probably won't be using that too much. Like I said before, you can cancel Tung's jumping light punch attack into that special move. That's not too useful in most situations that I can really think of. You could do that, like that super duper slow cross up that really only nobody who plays the game would get hit by, really, or plays fighting games in general would get hit by, I think. That doesn't work if the opponent is crouching. That's really the only thing I can think of. Speaking of which, these can cross up, but whatever, just it's easier to cross up with jumping light punch if you really wanted to. It's just one button. Let's go over Tung supers. First one he has is cortical back twice and then punch. Here's the EX version. As you see with those supers, they have a lot of corner carry capabilities to them. Next super move he has is cortical forward twice and then kick. And that's the EX version. Then Tung's Climax super is cortical forward twice and then both punches. And if you wanted to advance cancel and go from one super into another super, the most reliable way is going from the kick super into the punch one, and you're canceling this pretty much right away. So that was into Climax, and you can go into the other super as well. And here's some quick combos to get you started. Any of his close normals into his command grab is really simple and does a good amount of damage. Of course, if you wanted to be safe, you want to probably do the fireball, because that is even on block, and that was the light punch version of it. You can also complicate this a little bit more by adding in his command normal. And then from low, you can do something like this. You can go into the mash attack. It's pretty simple. That was from one crouching light kick into a crouching light punch. You can go to his command grab as well. You can also opt to throw in that command normal at the end of that sequence as well, so you can special cancel that into like his command grab or his fireball. You can also do something like that. That was from one crouching light kick into a standing close light kick, and then I went to his command normal after that. And of course, refer to the special moves section so you know how to convert some of these moves into more damage. Alright everyone, thanks for watching the Tung beginner breakdown. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. Thanks for the patience and waiting for this video. It did take a while to come out. And let's go to member select as always. So next time we'll do what the heck? Mei Tenkun. Never once looked at his name. And then as you see, this is the latest update, so we got some of these. I can't pick them. But you see some of the new characters on the bottom, the DLC characters. So it is possible that I'll be doing some videos on them. Regardless, thank you for watching the Tung beginner breakdown, and I'll see you next one.